So, all right, Todd, we got to talk Cowboys. Here's the biggest thing that I'm seeing on social media a bunch right now. Like, obviously, we've got the Pickens discussion that's coming up. People are wondering about Javonte Williams, Jadeveon Clowney. Cowboys have talked like they're going to be aggressive there. But there's this new line of bust the budget. That's become Jerry's offseason line. And there's debate about how serious they are. As we look into the offseason, as we're getting ready to head to Indianapolis for the Combine, where a lot of these meetings are going to take place, how much of this is just a talking point or a narrative versus this is an actual strategy that the Cowboys are likely to employ this offseason?
So you're saying the Cowboys are all in on busting the budget?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Look, the proof is going to be in the pudding, right? I mean, this is a team. The last big contract, as we know, is Brandon Carr. They had a year there where they signed Nate Livings and Mackenzie Bernardo and a couple of guys to decent contracts, but they've not really been players at the high end of the free agent market. And when was Brandon Carr? What year was
2012.
that? 2012. 2012? Mm-hmm. And also the same year they moved up to number 6 to take Mo Claiborne.
Yep.
Which was a bust the budget move in some other respects. So I think you'll see them do things they've not done in free agency in quite a long time. But does that mean, like I saw I think Over the Cap did, the Cowboys can create more cap room than anybody if they restructure all their contracts? Well, you don't want to restructure all.
No, not all of them.
So now you're going to do the big ones. We know they're going to do Dak and CD and Tyler Smith and Oso Odighizuwa. We know they're going to do those, and they'll get $90 million or whatever it is. But I think even with the George Pickens tag, they can do whatever they want to do in free agency and sign good players and help that defense immediately. And we'll see if they do it. I'm hesitant to say they will, because we've heard these slogans before and nothing has matched up. But something tells me that this might be a little different because, there is some proof in the pudding of Christian Parker's unlike any sign or any defensive coordinator or coordinator hiring that they've had. So maybe that's the start of doing things different, and that continues into free agency.
Todd, because of the structure of the organization, and we've thrown out other teams, other GMs, whatever, feel pressure to win. Do you think they feel the pressure to win? I mean, it can't be the same as somebody who has a risk of losing a job, right?
Right, I agree with that. Yeah, there was no chance they were losing their job. So clearly, there is the pressure on the Joneses to win is different than the pressure on John Schneider in Seattle. Now he just fought himself another 5 years or whatever you want to call it for winning a second Super Bowl. But, pick another GM. Whoever the GMs that just got hired this year down in Miami. Well, that guy's not going to be the GM in Miami for 40 years, right? So he's probably not even going to be the GM for 5 years if the Dolphins don't have a successful turnaround. But yeah, absolutely. I agree with your premise there.
All right, so Todd, this is one of the things that my contention is whenever I'm looking at bare minimum for the Cowboys this offseason, if we were to just look at the roster and look at the defensive side of the ball, if you include guys who you will need to re-sign, so Clowney would be considered not here as we enter the offseason, it feels like bare minimum they probably need 2 pass rushers. They are 2 to 3 starting capable pass rushers because of the rotations that they play. Probably need at least 1 linebacker, probably need at least 1 safety, and at minimum, you probably need 1 cornerback. It feels like they're around 6 different starting capable players that they would need to acquire to say, all right, you feel like you've got your bases covered here. Is part of the way they're talking because they just do not have the option not to do this, not to play in these waters, because if they don't, then they're going to feel the defense that's similar to the one they had last year?
No, I don't think that way, because they can find a middle-of-the-road signing and have it count $2.5 million against their cap. And so, we'll cover that linebacker. Mm-hmm. We'll cover that pass rusher. We can go. Dante Fowler can come back. So I do think there's a difference between doing things like that, which is what they've done, and going out and adding legit free agent pieces. Now, just don't ask me what legit free agent pieces is right now. The one guy I would like to see them go get, and we talk about all this stuff right now, half the guys we talk about might not even be available, either with franchise tag or the re-sign of the team that they're at. And, oh, gosh, Bobby, who's the Falcons? Ellis. Which one is it?
Oh, Jonah Ellis.
I want him. I watch that guy play, and he makes plays. Like, he's all over the field. So how he fits in Christian Parker's defense, none of us know that either, because guess what? We don't even know what kind of defense this dude's running. We don't know if it's going to be a 3-4 or 4-3 hybrid. I'm sure they're going to call it some kind of hybrid thing. But if you look at his background, he's a Vic Fangio guy, but he's also a Mike Pettin guy when he got into the NFL. They've hired an outside linebackers coach. Well, there's some hints there. So, but I don't think that their free agency spending will be because of desperation. But I do think, look, they don't have second and third round picks. They what do they have? 8 picks, so it ends up with a couple of compensatories maybe. So they have to do something in free agency, and it's probably and beyond just again adding guys like Jack Sanborn and trading for Kenneth Murray, like stuff. They have to do legitimate things.
Todd Archer from ESPN joining us here on 105 through the Fan. Todd, outside of the anything is possible type of odds, like, well, you want to account for everything. You want to leave open the door for everything.
This is the Max Crosby question.
No, not quite.
Oh, okay.
It's George Pickens. How likely is it, or is it possible that this ends with a Pickens trade as opposed to either the tag or an extension?
I would put it at it's 87.7% tag, and fill in however you want to divvy up those other two, either extension or trade in the final 12.3%. Is fine by me. I mean, that's just the way I see this thing going. There's history tells you that, right? The last two guys that they've tagged, Pollard and your guy Dalton Schultz had a nice quote about Dak on your air.
I put that one on the tee from Todd. I'm always going to put the Dak praise on a tee for somebody.
I thought it was more about the Dalton Schultz stuff. Where was I going? Those guys were tagged and didn't play. They haven't signed a first-time tagged guy since Dez in 2015. D-Law got tagged a second time and then signed Dak. Obviously waited a couple of days, got tagged again, and signed his mega deal before the most recent mega deal. So history tells you that it's likely the dude's going to be here playing on the tag. And, some of this stuff is unfair, but what will Pickens people be asking for? What will his agents be asking for? And if he's going to say, well, Jamar Chase is making 40 point whatever million, why even bother talking? You're not going to get a deal done. So just play the tag out.
Todd, this felt like at the end of the season, a lot of fans were just going, oh, that's an easy one. Mark that off. I didn't know if it was always so easy, and I thought, given their resource management, it would make sense to keep him here. Is there any question about Terrence Steele this offseason? Are the Cowboys, do you think, wrestling with anything there, or do you think they're just looking at it and going, we got so many problems, we can't also open up a problem at right tackle?
Yeah, I think I think you're on it a little bit, and I think Terrence Steele is fine, right? He's solid enough. Like teams win in the NFL with that player on their offensive line. Like that can happen. I do think he takes some undeserved grief. And then, like you said, okay, so everybody's natural thought is Tyler Guyton moves to right tackle, Tyler Smith plays left tackle, keep TJ Bass, whatever. And well, what has Tyler Guyton done in his first 2 years to give you the confidence that he can play right tackle? Because he's been banged up his first 2 years and fought through injuries. I actually thought he was okay at left tackle for the majority of his time that he played out there. It seems like you'd just be creating another issue that you have to go fill another hole, and either that comes, through the draft and backing up the Guyton decision if that's the one you're making, or getting someone better than Guyton, and that would be a first round pick or a second round pick you don't have at the moment. So I don't. I may be wrong, but I don't think they're going anywhere there with Terrence Steele yet. Now maybe if it comes down to they offer a pay cut and he won't do it, maybe that sort of thing happens. But I just don't see them moving on from Terrence Steele from the people that I've talked to.
Todd, give me the % chance they stay at 12 and 20 versus move off one of them.
Oh, see, I just did 87 point something. So I would say the moving off the 20th pick seems more likely in my mind than moving off 12. But you also need somebody to want to come up and get that guy. And what will be that position or player? And usually it's a quarterback, but I don't know if we're seeing quarterbacks that are going to jump up so high that I guess maybe someone might fall in love with Ty Simpson or something, and they can say, well, the Cowboys don't need a quarterback. Let's jump in front of this team. But I would say it might be more of moving 20 than 12 because where they are and what they need, you can't just trade it at 12. You can't trade away from what should be an impactful player as a rookie. And let's remember that, Micah was the 12th pick, and they were in what were they, 10th that year before they moved back, I think?
Yep, 10 to 12.
So, they were looking at Surtain and J.C. Horn as the corners, and both those guys was gone. I would put it more on 12 or 20 would be what you trade, and you try and get a second or whatever the numbers would add up to fill in a hole that you don't have in the spot at the moment.
Todd,
but wait a minute, I thought we were trading 20 for Max Crosby.
No. We can't trade 20 for Max Crosby. I mean, I'd love to. Yeah. If they would entertain that, I'd be all about that. I know you said don't ask me who, so I won't do that. But in terms of resource management and how to address free agency leading into the draft and stuff like that, is there a position in free agency that you think, I think that's the position they're most likely to do their big spending on?
That's a good one.
They're all good ones, Todd.
Well, are they? Personally, for me, and I don't know if this is the way that they're thinking, I think you need a veteran linebacker type person in here, a guy who can call the defense, a guy that you immediately say, that's the guy, that's our leader. And that's the guy that we want with the green dot. That's a lot to put on a rookie. And I know, Bobby, you've done this, whatever percent of linebackers and safeties that have played in the first round come in and they're superstars and yada, yada, yada. I would say that the target in my mind is the number one target because of what you need is linebacker. Now, it's not a priority position like an edge guy, but the edge guy is available aside from Hendrickson, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Who are the other guys that you're going to sit here and, 35-year-old Khalil Mack, you're going to go do that? I mean,
yeah, you're going to have to gamble on a Bosa or Reddick, yeah. Right.
So I'd rather use the draft maybe to go get one of those guys, and even at cornerback, it seems like everybody's putting the Cowboys with a corner at 12 or 20. But again, if you look at the guys available that you can go get in free agency, who do you want to go get? Jamel Dean?
Yeah.
I mean, so is that the guy that you're going to sit there and give big money to? I don't know if that's what they do. So that's why I think it might be. I know it won't be a defensive tackle. How about that? Rule out,
there we go.
There we go. They got enough there. Hey, Todd, we appreciate it. We'll see you in Indy, but not at that deli. We're not going to go there.
Don't be a hater.
I mean, I'll go, maybe.
Todd still has not let that go. Todd is upset that you guys took those shots at his deli.
Maybe it was just a bad day.
Could have been a bad day. Yeah.
Eberflus ate there that day. I mean, that kind of says a lot, I think.
All right. Thanks, Todd.
Yep. See you, fellas.
Todd Archer, ESPN, joining us here on Shan.